Coach, two state qualifiers, talk about the positive end of things. Philip Edey ends up runner-up today, but 6-pounders in this area have been as good as anybody in the state, and I'd imagine he won't see a lot of guys a lot better down in Des Moines.
Yeah, we knew that going through the season that steel sharpens steel, and that we were probably getting some of the best competition throughout the season. Of course, the three gentlemen that were top 3 in the Northeast Iowa Conference, I believe, all qualified today, with 5 from New Hampton winning his district, and of course Millage from Cresco here. And Philip did a good job battling. Would have liked to see him open up a little bit. I don't think we saw the complete Philip Edey. Sometimes you get to these tournaments, and it's the biggest thing you have a worry as a coach, that kids will kind of get conservative when that's kind of the last thing you want them to do. And then the match against Millage is kind of the same thing. We thought we were in a couple situations where we kind of need to turn it up a little bit and get some scores on those, and we're still giving him a little bit more respect than maybe what need to be. Philip needs to realize now that we're in the state tournament that we are in that top level group, and we can kind of start getting after guys a little bit more. And he's going to have a great opportunity at the state tournament. He's excited to go down as a freshman. Hopefully we can make sure that he's ready to compete and doesn't get overwhelmed by the crowds and the size of the arena, because when it really comes down to it, it's still a circle and 2 guys wrestling.
And speaking of a guy that's turned it up, Devin Stort's wrestling the best of his career right now, and he turned it on here in the postseason, hasn't he?
Well, I think if you ask anybody on our coaching staff right now, Darren, the biggest thing with Devin is that he's wrestling so fundamentally well. We saw it numerous times in both his matches today. He's got a very strong reshot offense going, where he gets going on one thing and then is able to reshoot. Although he didn't score out in the finals, a situation where he's in a great what we call head in the hole, where he's trying to go behind and then transitions to a double leg right on the edge. On top, he's very solid. He works his near wrist, inside wrist very well, and can transition off of that, and was able to make some adjustments against a good Mount Vernon kid in there in the finals, who was kind of starting to look in and get after us a little bit with what we were doing on that inside wrist. But yeah, for some reason, he's really stepped it up here really the last month. We went back up to 132 for a little bit and then settled back down to 126, and I think he'll be the first one to tell you the little extra discipline and hard work has really paid off for him. He's going to the state tournament as a district champ, which is going to put him in a great position in terms of the draw, because he'll have a district runner-up that first round. And on top of it, the biggest thing for us is he just needs to stay hungry. He does need to really realize, and we've told him this numerous times already, that he's going down the state tournament wrestling extremely well, and he can't be satisfied just getting there. He's got to be hungry to be able to go and get some hardware and work his way high up on that podium, which we really think as a coaching staff he has the capability of doing.
And Joe Kanoki losing in a wrestle back today, second straight year, a third-place finish at district for him. Talk about Joe's season overall. Obviously, he's a little heartbroken right now. Yeah,
he's heartbroken, but I have to be honest. I talked to him right away. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. There's things fundamentally that we didn't do in that last match, and I'll be honest, the big score that Stefan had, we really set up for him, kind of stepping over the leg, which is not something you should do. We should have been circling the other way. And Joe just has gotten tentative in these district matches. It's something that we're going to have to work through from kind of the mental side of the sport. He needs to go out and continue to be aggressive. We had an opportunity to get in a point there early, and then we needed to be in good attacks and finding ways to score. We didn't do that, and all of a sudden it's a 2-1 match, and we're able to ride him out. But then we go down, and you've got to get those escapes. You got to. We've talked about that as a team over and over again. You got to leave your energy on the mat. It hurts. But if it hurts a lot, it should drive us in our off-season work to get stronger. Be able to manage our weight and keep our energy level high, and just hit our technique a little bit. So it's got to be one of those things that it's not a good feeling, especially 2 years in a row. But then as a wrestler, you got to say, how bad does that hurt, and what am I willing to change fundamentally in my wrestling style because of that.
2 seniors say goodbye to the program. Alec Felstrel today, and Carter Zillick. Yeah, I'd imagine with Carter, he's probably as improved of a kid as you have in the room this year.
Yeah, if you would have said that we'd have him in contention in the district tournament, go to state as a freshman, we probably wouldn't have, we would have looked at that with a little bit of surprise, because he was one of those guys that took lumps as a freshman, but he stayed with it and kept battling. We really think we were right there with those guys today. We just got to stay in our stance a little bit and get moving. He's another one, well, actually both our seniors, we felt were not quite as attacking as what we've been all season long. We try to really promote that you do what got you here in the first place. I think our number of shots and the type of shots we were taking were not quite at the same level as what we had earlier, and that hurt us a little bit. Where we needed to be in on more leg attacks and hitting the corners a little bit harder with a little bit more finesse. And everybody worries in the district tournament about making a mistake, and probably the biggest mistake you can have is not hitting the button and going forward and being aggressive.
And finally, Andy Lilligraven, you knew it was going to be tough for him at 82 today, but freshman with a lot of potential, right?
You know, he's a freshman at upper weight that won over 20 matches this year. That doesn't happen very often. He comes into a bracket which I think had 3 very physical seniors. The biggest thing I think we can carry away from this is you say, Andy, look at what those guys do with their physical tools, their strength, their speed, their reaction. And there is something to be said. You can't have some of those right away as a freshman. You know, it's really special individuals that compete at an upper weight like that early on. And we just told Andy, you know, you get into your spring sports and you get into your summer sports and fall sports and you hit the weight room like we know he's going to and continue to work hard. He's eventually going to develop those tools, and I don't think we have to wait to senior for it to happen. I think we're going to start seeing that already next year as a sophomore, that he'll be able to come out with the same type of physical power, and he'll be able to hit his technique, and then he'll be able to defend his technique a little bit better than what he was here at the end of the year. And that's just matchups. It's part of sport wrestling. It's part of development when you're a freshman wrestling an upper weight.
And you always want more, but congrats on getting to Des Moines next week, and hopefully a lot of wrestling to do for those 2 young men yet this year.
You know, Darren, it's one of those things, you come out of a tough sectional and district like this, you know your gentlemen that you take down Des Moines have a great opportunity, and we know that's going to be the thing with Philip Nevin, and we look forward to working with him and trying to reach some higher goals come next week.